You're not a police officer.
No, I work with Park Ridge. I work for Park Ridge.
Okay.
I'm not with them anymore.
Am I being arrested?
You are.
Yeah.
Hold on. Do you understand why you're detained right now or no?
I don't know.
I think
Why you did going what you're going? But
Okay. Is it okay if I explain some of it?
I should never have been there, and through my actions, I violated the trust of my family and everybody in my life that loved me.
What makes somebody wake up and decide to become somebody else? It's a fair question. When I talk about a social worker who enrolled in high school at the age of 30, a convicted felon accused of showing up to crime scenes dressed as a cop, a woman accused of stealing a nurse's license and treating thousands of patients. These people are accused of not only trying to be somebody else, but breaking the law while doing it. And one by one, they got caught in law enforcement's crosshairs. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. So here's the thing about pretending to be somebody you're not. Eventually, usually, someone figures it out. Now, what I'm about to get into are some resolved cases, some unresolved cases. So some of these are just allegations. Some of these actually resulted in a conclusion. But I just want to give that caveat there, because when I talk about law enforcement catching on, maybe it's a cop who notices your badge doesn't match your story. Maybe it's a Walmart employee who runs your name and finds out you've trespassed before. Maybe it's a group of high schoolers who find your yearbook photo from 15 years ago. So in this episode of Sidebar, we're going to be looking at 6 cases where people are accused of thinking they could pull off the ultimate identity swap. Some apparently did it for power. All different circumstances, but they have one thing in common. They got caught. Now, yes, some are innocent until proven guilty, right? Their cases haven't been resolved as of yet. But I just want you to hear what we're talking about, because wait until you hear what happens when a convicted felon is accused of showing up to a real crime scene dressed as a SWAT officer, or when a social worker, what she did after she was already inside a high school for months pretending to be a student. So we're going to start this off in Port Orange, Florida. This is where a Florida woman took a fight over a Walmart parking spot way too far. Her decision to pull out a police badge that didn't belong to her led to her arrest. And it was all because someone parked where apparently they shouldn't have. A 41-year-old woman named Alexis Rosati had written out what she called a citation. Really, it was just a note on a scrap of paper, and left it on a vehicle that was parked in a spot that Walmart had offered to law enforcement partners as a courtesy. So when the driver came back and saw the note, he confronted her, and he started recording.
You'll be towed.
There's no statute. No, there's not. Show me the statute. Is there a? Why, you're the police officer. Why don't you look it up? But why don't you look it up? But you should already know it. Good. Tell me what the statute. Tell me what the statute is. Does it say anything about the car would be towed? You're not a police officer. No, you're not. Not with teeth like that. Not with teeth like that. Ma'am, you're not a police officer, ma'am. You're flashing a badge around. It says Bellevue. She's just flashed a badge. Excuse me. Excuse me, ma'am. She's flashing a badge around like she's a police officer, and she's not. She's not a police officer.
Can you leave it alone, sir?
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
But are you guys going to tow my car?
No, but just...
Thank you. So you heard what she said. The cars can't be towed. You're not a police officer. Why are you flashing a badge at me, telling me you're a police officer and you're not? You're going to be in trouble for that.
Where would I get a badge from? You buy it off?
You just carry your badge around when you're off duty?
I'm not off duty. How do you know what I'm doing?
You're on duty with Crocs on?
Do you know what I'm doing right now?
I don't care what you're doing.
I don't care what you're doing. You broke a rule.
That's not a rule. There's difference between rules and laws, ma'am. That's a rule.
You did not get a ticket.
You can't give me a ticket. Give me a ticket. I'm going to stay. I'll be right out here. Please give me a ticket. I'm asking you, please. Assaulting an officer? Nobody saw me assault her.
So Rosati seemed to claim on video she was an officer from a different jurisdiction, and the man that she was arguing with, this guy Jason, told police she pulled a badge out of her pocket that appeared to say something like Bellevue, and that's when he started the recording. Now Jason took the video to the Port Orange Police Department.
I parked where it says reserved for law enforcement.
Okay.
Partners.
Do they have that at the neighborhood Walmart?
Yeah.
Okay, I knew they had it at the.
I park there
Walmart.
sometimes. I have a bum foot today, so I was like, I'm just going to run.
Yeah.
I literally had to run and get.
That's just a courtesy. There's no law against it or.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and you're telling me that somebody said something, so.
So
okay.
this is the.
Here, I'll hold it if
This
you
is
want.
the note that I came out.
Somebody left this on your car.
I have her on camera too.
Okay.
She's flashed a badge at me, and I went into Walmart to ask them about the note and about the parking.
Yeah.
Can I get towed for parking there? They
Yeah.
said absolutely not.
Yeah,
I guess the person who wrote this note overheard. So I was like, whatever. I'm walking back out to my car to go home, and I found this. Well, I found that first, and when I was walking back from Walmart the second time, she comes out, flashes her badge. She's wearing, I think, white shorts, Crocs, and a tank top.
Seemed like
I'll show you the
off-duty
video. I can show you
type,
the video.
or was it like professional wear? Like, did it
No.
look like she was working at the time? Right?
No, she
Okay.
claimed that she was on the clock in Walmart working on something in Walmart. Walmart asked the managers, because she was talking to the managers.
Yeah.
Asked the manager, she says, we don't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
She may be working, is what they said. I said,
Yeah.
okay, well, whatever.
Yeah.
So I called you guys to see if y'all could come up with a name. You see where she signed it and printed it. Yeah. That's hard to read. It looks like barbell or barn bell. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But anyway, she flashed the badge, and then I went. Of course, I started recording. And,
Okay, so
I have that.
hopefully I should be able to see who it is if
Yes.
it's one of our people. Okay.
Yeah.
So there is a Bellevue, Florida. It's about 2 hours away. So the investigating officer called that department to double check.
Good afternoon, Bellevue Police Department.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Sergeant Fischetti, and I'm with the Port Orange Police Department over in Volusia County. This might seem weird, but I'm trying to find out if you have a certain officer that works there. To kind of give you a quick heads up. So there was a kind of a, not even an altercation, but some words were exchanged between some people here at the Walmart, and one of them tried to identify themselves as a potential Bellevue police officer.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they would be way over here. They even said, well, they showed a Bellevue badge or something, but said they work here in Port Orange. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to turn out to be, but one of the leads, I just want to see if this is potentially somebody who works there, because they left a note on their car. They wrote that their name was Officer, they put a first initial J, but then the last name of like Barbell or Baskell or something with a, what's that?
Butcher?
No, it's not Butcher. It looks like it ends in ELL, maybe starts with a B, so somewhere between like B. And it's going to be a female. Female, brown hair, maybe late 30s, maybe 40. I'm not sure how many officers you have there, if you would know basically everybody that works there.
Yes, oh no, trust me, I know them all. We don't have
Okay.
many.
Okay.
And this was recently, right?
This was just, within the last hour or so, probably, last couple hours. It was earlier today.
Okay, we have Sergeant Esquivel, who she has dark hair. She's in her early 30s, though, real skinny.
No, so this lady's a little bit heavier set, so no, definitely wouldn't be considered real skinny.
Let's see, we did have one. She's no longer here.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Sergeant with Port Orange. Apparently somebody was at Walmart posing as a Bellevue officer.
Yeah.
And yeah, same thing. Yeah. Hold on just a minute.
Okay.
That's Chief Holland.
Hey, Chief. It's Sergeant Fischetti over with Port Orange Police Department here in Volusia County. So just kind of a wild shot here. I don't have much information on here. A gentleman came to our lobby. He was over at the Walmart here. And our Walmart, they have like this courtesy like law enforcement parking spot. And he's not law enforcement, but he had parked there because he's not disabled, but likes to be close. Anyway, so he's in that spot, and somebody kind of confronted him on like, hey, you can't park there. And he's like, you know, basically like says who, and this person says, well, I'm a police officer, Bellevue Police. May not even be Bellevue, Florida. It may, you know, it could be, there's plenty of Bellevues all around the country. Didn't get an actual spelling, nothing like that. But then she says, well, I'm working over here in Port Orange. Because he's like, well, you know, you're in Port Orange. She's like, well, I work over here. So it doesn't make sense that you're a Bellevue Police, but you work over here. But she actually ended up leaving a note on his car, like, you know, Port Orange Police has been notified, things like that. And she signs it Officer, first initial J, but then like Barbell or Basco. You can't really read the last name, but it definitely looks like a B, and then it's an ELL.
That wouldn't. I have had no females like that.
Okay, yeah. He actually recorded her. So, I mean, if you don't have any, there's probably no reason to even go through and even watch the videos and stuff like that. But she, like, from watching it, she doesn't give me the vibes of being a police officer. She kind of seemed maybe it might be a mentally ill person just claiming to be, I don't know. Yeah, so I was thinking that route also, but I just wanted to double check with you guys before I start maybe looking into some other things. Maybe even somebody impersonating an officer, I don't know. But
I mean, I've got one female officer. She's accounted for here.
Yep. Okay, yeah, so definitely can't be over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you taking a couple minutes to talk to me, and I just wanted to make sure.
Follow up on these things, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. All right. Thank you. Have a good day. Yep.
Yeah, Bellevue Police had no idea who she was. So the officer also pulls up the surveillance video from inside the store. And it seemed to show Rosati walking up to a Walmart employee, the same one seen in Jason's video. And that employee later told police that Rosati identified herself as an officer and held up a metal object that could have been a badge. Now here's where it gets weird. A different officer had been dispatched to Rosati's home that same day for something else entirely. You see, police were looking into whether Rosati, who was a caregiver for her uncle, James Barkell, might be misusing his money. Barkell was reportedly experiencing mental decline, so the officer had no idea about this Walmart situation.
No worries. I wasn't like too worried about it. Are you Alexis?
I am.
Do you want to go back inside and talk, or you want to talk out here?
No, we'll talk out here. My dad's inside.
Okay.
Is it about the situation that just happened at Walmart?
So yeah, it's something with the DCF. They called us just to come out and do it, like, an investigation.
This guy is a jerk. He complains all the time at Walmart. What he did was, he was parked in the law enforcement parking spot. So I left a note on his car that said, "You've been warned. This is for law enforcement. What if there was an emergency?"
Okay, I don't think that's what I'm here for.
What?
Or are you talking about, or sorry, to continue, I think you might be explaining a different story, but
That's the only, what's DCF?
Department of Child and,
oh, I don't know anything about, what's that about?
So, you work with, Jay.
He's a retired police.
Yeah, but you help,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you work with him, right?
Yeah, but my dad was just, you want to go inside my, come on in, because this does have to do with that. I thought this was at Walmart.
No, I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
If they called, we didn't do anything about it, because...
Yeah, come on in, Officer Coach. My son's asleep, so...
Yeah, we'll try to keep it down.
Okay.
Now, when the original officer saw that report, he noticed something. That name, Barkell, looked like the name that was scribbled at the bottom of the fake citation. So police went back to Barkell's home, and inside a black wallet, they apparently found a police badge and ID assigned to the now retired James Barkell of the Belleville Police. So when police went to arrest Rosati, they found that she'd been driving her uncle's car, which had a second police badge inside. Officers, they confiscated both badges, and according to police, due to Barkell's poor health, it was unlikely he knew that she had them or was using them to impersonate an officer. So Rosati was charged with impersonating a police officer. She was released on a $3,000 bond. She later told a local news outlet that the driver had zipped into the spot so fast he almost hit a woman walking in the parking lot, so she felt she needed to intervene. But she admitted showing her uncle's badge, maybe a step too far. The court records show Rosati entered a no-contest plea to the impersonation charge. She was given 2 years probation, and she also had to pay nearly $1,000 in court costs and fines. So that case was about somebody pretending to be something they weren't to maybe scare off a driver. Our next case, it is about somebody who pretended to be somebody else entirely to seemingly get away with a crime that is almost too petty to believe. We head to Leesburg, Florida, where a bold move inside a Walmart, yes, another Walmart, got caught on camera. We're talking about loss prevention watching very closely as a man helped himself to a brand new pair of shoes right there in the aisle. He is accused of swapping out his old kicks for a fresh box on the shelf and then strolled past the registers like it was no big deal, heading straight into the restroom. That is when Leesburg police step in.
Where this guy at? He's still in the bathroom? He's still in the bathroom? You got video of him? Let me see what it look like real quick.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You said the shoes are stolen?
Yeah. He's a black guy wearing a black shirt and a yellow shorts. So he was just right here. I was watching him on 21.
Somebody was out there on one of your carts, so I had brought them in and then.
So you can see he got flip-flops, right? That's inside, you know.
Is the other guy with him?
I don't know. Yeah, the other guy is inside the store somewhere. There's the shoes on his feet.
So it's the black guy with the khaki shorts?
Yep. So the shoes right here. And then what he does was put the slippers in that box, pack that up there, leave the box with the slippers, and then walk away. So he just went into that restroom. It's supposed to be coming out. You want me to shake him up?
Yeah.
So officers move in on the bathroom and they make contact with the suspect.
What's up, man?
What's going on?
What's going on? What's going on? Hey, wait. What's going on? What's going on?
Relax.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I only got my phone on me. What's going on?
Okay.
Hold up. Wait.
I'll explain everything to you, man. Don't worry.
What's going on? Hold up.
I'll explain it to you, too.
What's going on? Hold up, man. What I do? Can y'all explain something to me?
Yeah, we're gonna explain it to you, okay? Relax.
All I did was take a shit, bro.
Okay.
What's going on?
Okay.
Tack 2, Leesburg, 1 to 10.
What's going on, man? Literally. What's going on? Why y'all not telling me nothing?
I told you we're gonna explain it to you, man. Alright, what's your name, man?
Do you have an ID on there?
Alright, I'm gonna read you something, okay? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court. You have the right to have a lawyer with you prior and during any questioning. You're detained. Having these rights in mind, do you wish to speak and answer questions?
This is a yes or we need a yes or no if you want to talk to us.
Yes.
Can you spell your first name for me?
T-A-Y-S-H-O-N.
T-A-Y-S-H-O-N. Middle initial.
D.
And spell your last name.
P-I-N-E.
Date of birth. Alright, I'm gonna get started on a...
Can I make a phone call? Yeah, give us a second. I got my people out here and I know they're waiting on me. Alright, so now that you're in here, now that I read you your rights, you know why you're in here, right?
Yeah, but that's not the case. Listen, what happened was...
Now, police, they escort the alleged bathroom bandit over to the security office for questioning.
You got the same name as you?
Nah, Tayshawn and then it's Taquan. I'm Tayshawn and then he's Taquan. He's 23 years of age.
I see.
And when did you say your birthday was?
His is... He was out there. That's my brother now.
Tag 2 to tag 3. Yeah, his birthday is...
Do you have any tattoos?
This was TP on the backside. Me and my brother done that 20 years ago.
Go back again. Is one of them his brother?
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause that's definitely him.
That's his brother.
That's the brother?
Yeah.
Let me see.
What you mean, let me see? That's brother.
That's not my biological brother right there. Whoever y'all seen on that camera is not my biological brother.
You have tattoos? You said where?
My this was TP on the backside.
Does that say Quincy on your right hand? Tap for Israel.
This is crazy, man. I just made a phone call so I didn't
Not right now.
Tap for Israel. Reference the email. Can we see which one has a tattoo of the name Quincy on the right hand?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
We're investigating the theft.
I had this white shirt, sweating like crazy.
Good. $10-4. That's going to be our subject. All right, you want to say your name, date of birth again? What's your first name? So tell me your first name. Okay, so you were giving us the wrong name and date of birth. Exactly, this working should prize. All right.
You said he was trespassing here?
Trespass, theft, and I think obstruction.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't, wait, that trespass wasn't done after a year, it was trespass for life?
when you.
I wasn't.
Yeah, you can't come back.
I signed the paper, but I wasn't aware. So how did you make a phone call?
No, we're not gonna do that. When they get to the jail, you can do that.
I just need to let somebody know my son is at the house.
You left your son by yourself?
No, somebody pays somebody. I let them know that I'm not gonna be coming.
You can make that phone call when we get to where we're going.
There's no way that I can just get something different, bro. Like, I know you ain't gonna work with me, bro, because y'all doing your job, but it's like...
The thing is, man, I wouldn't mind working with you. But you lied multiple times.
Please, man, I know it's something else I can do.
No. Good.
Please, I know it's something else. Something gotta give. Come on, man. I got so much going for myself right now.
10-4.
I can't hide this right now. Please. Please. My son is depending on me.
You should have probably thought about this beforehand.
She's calling me. Keep answering.
I'm not answering that phone.
Please answer the phone, man. Please answer the phone. Please answer the phone calls. This is crazy, man. No shit waiting on me, bro. So I gotta face a judge. Yeah. So there's no bond. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no bond when I go up to jail.
I don't know what it
Can you please just let them know something?
is. Do you want to go to 53 with them and I can take care of this? Or what do you want?
Can you please let them know something?
Yeah. You can go ahead and kick those shoes off.
Can you please let them know something, man? Let them know something.
Understand it? That's your girl right there?
They don't want me to talk on the phone or nothing, but they're tripping.
What's wrong?
They're saying I'm...
This is my fiance. Can you tell me what happened? Bro, I'll let you know. Just hang up later, alright?
I need to get bailed out or something. We ain't got no money for that right now.
Hang right up there, okay?
You can see if Pops can help me out.
Baby, what's this? Can I give him a hug? Hang right up there.
So the man told officers that his name was Tayshawn Pinellas. He gave them a birth date, he said he didn't have any ID, and the officer kindly collected his contact information so his wife could bail him out. But when the loss prevention associate pulled up that name, something didn't match. The photo on file for Tayshawn Pinellas didn't look like him. Dispatch ran the tattoos and confirmed what officers were already suspecting. The man wasn't Tayshawn. He was Taquan Sharif Pinellas, 23 years old, and Taquan had a problem. He had been accused of trespassing from this Walmart before. When they asked him about it, he reportedly said he didn't know the trespass warning was still active. And as for the shoes, he said he didn't intend to steal them. He seemingly claimed he just had to use the restroom before he paid. But when officers asked for his wallet, cash, bank card, He reportedly didn't have any. All he was apparently carrying was a vape and a cell phone. So the shoes were valued at $49.99. They were taken from Taekwon, returned to Walmart staff, and Taekwon was arrested for retail theft after allegedly trying to walk out of this store in a new pair of shoes. And, oh, by the way, who was the person that he's accused of impersonating? He's accused of giving officers his brother's name when he was caught. Now, what happened after the arrest, whether he took a plea deal or served time or went to trial, less clear. We couldn't find more information about that. But I will tell you, that's a story of one guy who allegedly pretended to be his own brother to get out of a shoe theft, right? That's the accusation. But what happens when the person accused of pretending to be somebody else is actually a former cop, and what they're allegedly pretending to be is still a cop? A former cop in Illinois got pulled over for expired registration. Simple traffic stop, right? But when he opened his wallet to get his license, the officer apparently saw something that turned a routine stop into a criminal investigation: a police badge. This happened back in February of 2025 in Arlington Heights, Illinois. So a Cook County Sheriff's deputy pulled over a man named Scott Pearson for expired registration. Now, Pearson appeared to be cooperative. He explained that he renewed his tags, but there was a mix-up with the spelling on the plate.
How you doing? Officer Martinez, Coach. Cheers, police. Driver license, insurance? I stopped you for the expired tags.
Yeah, I renewed them, and then I got they spelled the plate wrong. It's not stolen because the Ringo's not one stolen plate. And then I went to renew it again, and they said that I had to go get the permission tested again. So.
Okay. You're from Arlington?
Park Ridge.
Park Ridge?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Give me a second, okay?
Yeah.
So the deputy went back to his cruiser to run Pearson's information, and when he returned, he noticed something in Pearson's wallet.
You have an ID? Homework?
Yeah, I didn't know I don't have one on me, no. No, I work with Park Ridge, I said. I worked for Park Ridge.
Okay.
I'm not with them anymore.
Okay. So, is there a reason why you're carrying that then?
It's just the wallet I've always had. I don't use it.
Okay, can I see it again?
Yeah.
Can I have it?
Yeah, go ahead. You can take the badge if you want.
Okay. Give me a second, okay?
Yeah.
Stay in the vehicle for me, Scott.
So Pearson apparently said he worked for Park Ridge Police and then seemingly corrected himself that he worked there, past tense, right? He wasn't with them anymore. The badge seemingly was just in the wallet that he always carried, that he didn't use it. But the deputy took the badge, called Park Ridge PD to verify, and they confirmed Scott Pearson was no longer employed there. Public records appear to show that he worked for Park Ridge PD from 2020 to 2023, and his separation date was listed as February 29th, 2024. He's been inactive for nearly a year when this traffic stop happened. From there, a Cook County deputy was called to assist with the situation, and that is when things escalated.
What's his name? Scott. What's going on, brother?
Scott,
how you doing? Do me a favor. Step out the car real quick. You have anything on you?
No, sir.
No weapons, nothing we need to know of?
No.
Okay. Do me a favor. Step out. Just face right here. Face the one that's over here. Put your hands up real quick on the car.
8390.
So you got nothing on you? No weapons, no nothing? All right. Do me a favor. Put your hands behind your back. Yep. So they're just being detained at the moment, so we can ask you some questions, investigate everything. You are no longer employed by Park Ridge, correct? Okay. So what's the reason you're showing our officer the badge?
I didn't show it. I opened my wallet and it's, you know, have the little
I know, but
there.
when you're, okay, when you have been terminated from a police department or anything, you're not allowed to carry any police identity, no badge, no nothing, anything at all, because that's pretty much, you're impersonating a police officer, which you are no longer a police officer.
Yeah, I didn't state I was a cop. I didn't.
But you still have a badge on you, right? And you showed him the badge, and you said you used to work for Park Ridge or Burr Ridge, wherever it was, right?
I asked you, if you remember, I asked you, is that Arlington? And you said, no, that's Park Ridge.
I said, no, I worked for Park Ridge.
Yeah.
Okay, do you work for any other department at the moment, anything? No.
No, I said I worked.
Okay.
Yeah, the deputy explained why this was a problem. Pearson was no longer employed as a police officer, yet he was accused of carrying around a badge. And in Illinois, that is impersonating a peace officer. Now, Pearson seemingly insisted he hadn't shown the badge intentionally. He just opened his wallet and it was there. But then the deputy noticed something else on Pearson's SUV.
Does this car have lights? Because we see the lights on there.
They don't work, no. But
Where's the switch at that you would activate them if you did have them?
It was underneath the front, but they don't work. Underneath the floorboard, it's my wire.
These right here?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work, like I said. They were there when I worked there. And that's the wall that we buy.
Yeah, so look, Pearson reportedly said the lights didn't work, but you had this deputy who appeared to be skeptical, so he reportedly searched the vehicle, found a plug, and activated the lights.
There are police lights. Hey, they do work. They're working. They're flashing. So, vehicle does have, as you can see, police lights in the front.
Yeah, the lights appear to have been working, seemingly flashing. They apparently had been installed by Pearson himself, you know, the switch for the emergency lights. So the deputy laid it out for him.
You have police lights on a vehicle that you're saying apparently don't work, but you have lights on here, you're carrying around a badge, and you're not a sworn police officer. So that's all of impersonating a police officer.
When I was working there, I had them.
Okay, so you understand when you get terminated from a job, that should automatically come off. That should not be on your vehicle at all, because now you have these on your vehicle and you also have a badge. So how do we know you're not pulling somebody over? You could say, yeah, they don't work right now, but there's something you could probably go under the hood, connect them, and you can start pulling people over and acting like you're still the police and you're not. So that's all evidence of impersonating a police officer. Which at the time you should have just turned your stuff into Park Ridge or whoever it was.
That I had, yeah, the wall.
Except the badge, you should have turned the badge in as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Could you answer that to my baby mama? I'm supposed to get my kid.
Okay. Give me a second.
Supposed to pick him up in a half hour.
Okay.
We're going to go
This one or, yeah, because we're going to be right here anyway, so we don't want to be too far. And then we'll go from there after we see what Sarge says right now. You don't got nothing in the back, right? All right, go ahead. Let's see. Yeah. Got it? Oh, got it? Just turn your foot. You got to turn your foot somehow. Yep. There you go. Turn your body. There you go. Let me get this seatbelt.
You can call all my bosses. I was never that person, that guy that was actually in the retirement party for one of us tonight.
I understand, but you see where we're coming from, right? If I'm a police officer right now and I get terminated and I carry a badge on me and I open up my wallet and I have a badge there and I have a vehicle with actually police lights still on it, that's red flags. At my point, I would say, you know what? I'm terminated. I'm going to need to get rid of this badge, turn this back into them, and I'm going to take these lights off this vehicle. Okay, well, we'll talk her down.
What was the reason behind the registration again? For not up to date?
Yeah, so Pearson was arrested for impersonating a police officer, issued multiple traffic citations, and during the booking process, one of the deputies seemingly answered his phone when it rang and appeared to be the mother of his child calling.
Hello? Hello? This is Officer Perea with the Cook County Sheriff's Police Department. I don't know who the guy is that you're calling. I think, okay, he is being detained at the moment. He is being arrested for impersonating a police officer. So he's going to be in custody. We'll be going down to the station at Maywood. He will have probably a court hearing tomorrow to see what his bond's going to be, if they're going to bond him or give him a bond. And his vehicle will be seized. It's going to be towed because there are police lights on the vehicle that are actively working as well. So right now this is an investigation, so he is being detained, okay? Once he gets his phone call from the station, he'll probably give you a call. Okay, bye.
So Scott Pearson was cited, released after booking. He was indicted in March of 2025 on one count of impersonating a police officer. And according to Cook County court records, as of the latest available information, Pearson's case remains pending. He was not in custody, so by all accounts, he's awaiting trial on that impersonation charge. So that's a story about a former cop who allegedly couldn't let go of the badge, right? But our next case, it is about somebody who never had a badge, never had a license to begin with, and was accused of putting thousands of patients at risk pretending to be something she wasn't. A Florida woman who spent nearly 2 years working at a hospital treating thousands of patients, all without a nursing license. And she might have gotten away with it if she hadn't gotten a promotion. Yeah, this one went down in Palm Coast, Florida. 29-year-old woman named Autumn Bardisa was arrested in March of 2025, and the body cam footage from that morning shows she seemed genuinely confused about why she was being handcuffed.
Hey there, are you Autumn?
Yeah.
Can you step out of the car for me, please?
Sure.
Just turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Oh, wait, what's going on?
Put your hands behind your back.
Okay,
We'll
my
play
child's across the street.
Okay, alright.
Am I being arrested?
You are.
Yeah. Wait,
Hold
okay,
on,
okay.
hold on.
Can I ask, what, can I...
We have plenty of time to talk.
Okay.
Just give us just a minute.
Can I see my car?
Yeah, we'll take care of all that.
Can I call my boss so I can tell her and can't go through the...
Yeah, you have any other weapons? Juliet 34 flag. Just one female secure. So, let me just tell you, there is a felony warrant for your arrest, okay? There is a bond on it, okay, which is good. It's, I believe, $70,000 is the bond amount, okay? So you can bond out.
What? For what? For what?
You know what all this is about?
Not really. I kind of had something with the Department of Health, but I have my license.
Okay.
And I thought it was squared away because it's clear and active.
Okay. So that does stem from this. We were contacted, not me directly, but a guy with Health and Human Services reached out to you a couple months ago.
Yeah, and I had an attorney, and I haven't heard anything since.
Okay, so the attorney reached out to him and said that you were currently being represented and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a conversation with you, but if you're represented by an attorney and that's somebody that wants to be here for all that kind of questioning, I obviously am limited on where this conversation can go.
Can I know what is a
It has to do with medical fraud. I can get the exact thing. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it has to do with medical and stuff like that.
Okay.
You have 7 counts of identity theft and 7 counts of practicing without a license. And this does stem from everything with the Department of Health and admin health and all of that stuff. I mean, you're already aware of it. You've given statements to them, to other investigators before. This is just your first time meeting me.
Okay, identity.
So no, I've been with the other guys whenever they're doing their investigation, but I was not face to face with you for those
Okay,
okay.
So.
Can I just call her on my phone at least?
Yeah. Well, no worries. We'll let you do all that. Now. We can't just take the handcuffs off you because I mean I know you're saying you're not going to fight, but I mean you've seen TV, you watch the movies, like you see.
I've never had an arrest record. I've never done anything.
I'm not saying you have, okay, but we just don't want to. We don't want it to escalate to some place that we put it, because we take the handcuffs off you. But what we can do is get the person who's watching your child, and if you want to tell them what's going on, you certainly can. I mean, or if you want us to tell them.
Can I call them? Can you just take them off so I can call her on the phone at least?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
No. I'm not going to.
No, but I'm going to grab your phone.
We'll grab your phone and put it on speaker for you. Yeah, we'll grab your phone and put it on speaker. No, the point is that I'm not saying you're going to do anything. We take the handcuffs off. That gives you it puts it there. Okay.
Okay. It's not. And can you go to recent calls? And then, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Turn it up for you. Looks like your front door's open.
Yeah, I was walking. Yeah, please.
Did you want to step inside out of the heat
for
a second?
Is that okay?
Yeah. I mean, anyone else inside the house?
Grab your keys for you.
Okay, can these...
Is anyone else inside the house?
Just my dog, but he's... Can these be taken off? I won't do anything.
We can't take them off for right now, okay?
Come walk towards your house.
Here, I mean, like I said, just... Yeah, I'll just move my car in the driveway.
Yeah, so Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley held a news conference after her arrest. He called this one of the most disturbing cases of medical fraud his office had ever seen.
We believe that there were over 4,400 patients that she was in one manner or another that was involved in care at Advent Health Palm Coast, which is our newest hospital in Flagler County.
So how did this happen? Well, according to the sheriff's office, Bardisa graduated from Rasmussen University in March of 2022. Advent Health had hired her in July 2023 as an advanced nurse tech. It's a position that works under the supervision of a registered nurse. On her application, she indicated she was an education-first registered nurse, meaning she had completed nursing school but hadn't passed the national license exam yet. So investigators say that during that hiring process, she later claimed she had passed that exam and provided a license number that actually belonged to a different nurse, a real-life nurse. And when the hospital circled back to check on her licensing status, Bardisa told them that she was scheduled to take the exam. And then a few months later, she told an HR specialist that she'd passed and obtained her license, and she provided a license number that came back as valid, but again, it belonged to another woman named Autumn. Oh yeah, another woman named Autumn, a different Autumn. And Bardisa told HR that she'd, recently gotten married and her last name had changed, and that's what's going on here. So the license might not reflect that yet. This HR person told her to upload a copy of her marriage certificate to the hospital's database. That never happened, and no one apparently followed up. So according to the arrest documentation, because of that oversight, Bardisa was allowed to start the nurse residency program. She graduated in June of 2024, accepted a position as a registered nurse at Advent Health. And here's the part that really gets you. She was caught because she got a promotion. In early January of 2025, Bardisa was offered a position as charge nurse. That is a promotion that sparked a lot of interest from her colleagues because an unidentified nurse checked the status of her license and discovered the only license Autumn Bardisa had was an expired certified nursing assistant license. That prompted Advent Health to start an inquiry, and they asked Bardisa for that marriage certificate, that marriage license that she never provided. Sheriff Staley laid out the charges at the news conference.
They fired her. 2 months later, they notified us of the incident, which began a 7-month investigation. And the reason it took 7 months is you have to remember that we are trying to thread the needle on HIPAA laws. And so we have to have victims. We don't know who the victims are. And we also have to work with the hospital to obtain victim names. And so that requires subpoenas and investigation, and that takes a while to complete. Now, with over 4,400 victims, if you will, in this case, we worked with the 7th Circuit Judicial State Attorney's Office, which is R.J. Larissa, to determine how you can't really charge 4,400 counts. I guess you could, but it's going to significantally bog down the criminal justice system. So the time that she was employed as what they thought was a fully certified RN was 7 months. So they charged 1 count for each month that she worked at the hospital as allegedly a fully licensed authorized RN. So that's why it's 7 counts. 7 counts of practicing medicine without a license, basically, and 7 counts of identity fraud. Go to a hospital and you trust that the hospital staff is fully licensed, prepared to serve you in whatever your medical need is. And so you have to have faith in the system. And I think in this case, it showed that there was some flaws, at least in follow-up, and a very trustworthy hiring process. When you say, I just got married, that's why my last name is different. And they asked her to provide, but there was no follow-up. So I think there were some mistakes made in the hiring process, but you can deal with Advent Health on that. because we only look at the criminal case and what led up to it, what caused it. To our knowledge, there's no serious injury or death related to this incident. And, you know, she must have done a good job, even though she wasn't licensed, because they were looking at a promotion to charge nurse, which is what triggered the review of her file and ultimately how she got caught.
So Bardisa was initially facing 7 counts of practicing as a healthcare professional without a license and 7 counts of fraudulent use of personal identification information, so 14 charges in total. But the court records show that in August of 2025, prosecutors took no action on 12 of those charges. Now, by the way, after that whole back and forth of the promotion and not being able to find the right documentation, she was terminated on January 22nd, 2025, by the way. So at that point, according to court documents, Bardisa had allegedly been providing medical services for approximately 4,486 patients from June 2024 through January 2025. Multiple media outlets, they reached out to Advent Health for comment, and the hospital responded with a statement: "We do not comment on private personnel matters or pending legal matters. All inquiries should be directed to the Flagler County Sheriff's Office." Fast forward to April 7th, 2026. Just happened. Bardisa entered a plea and was sentenced to 5 years of probation, avoiding prison time, but barred from working in the medical field. So that is somebody who was accused of pretending to be a nurse, treating thousands of patients without a license. Our next case, it's about somebody who allegedly pretended to be a cop and took it so far that real officers seemingly thought he was one of their own. So we got this guy from Washington State. He's accused of showing up to active crime scenes, flashing a badge, telling responding officers he was one of them, and when they started asking questions, that's when his story allegedly seemingly unraveled in ways that you really have to see to believe. This happened in Bremerton, Washington, back in September of 2025. So police were responding to reports of a fire in a parking garage when a man pulled up in an unmarked Ford Explorer, apparently with flashing blue lights. He is accused of wearing body armor with police and SWAT patches, a metallic badge that looked like it came from the Edmonds Police Department, and he was apparently carrying a gun. His name, Michael Scaletta-Teets, 49 years old, and when he got out of the SUV, he is accused of walking up to the Bremerton officers and telling them he was an off-duty detective from Edmonds. Now, at first, the officer believed him. One officer even admitted on camera that he thought Scaletta was one of their detectives. But Scaletta is accused of spinning this whole backstory. 27 years, retired from Baltimore City, worked for Thurston County Sheriff's Office, now with Edmonds PD in the Gang and Intelligence Division. Take a look.
Were you on the phone with him? They asked us to come outside. I thought it was for you.
Who asked us to come outside?
I don't know. He's on the phone with him.
No, I thought I was pulled over because I thought you guys needed help with that.
Oh no, no, we thought. No, I'm confused right now, man. It's my first day back in a while, so I was out with COVID, and it was bad.
Okay.
So it's been a while since I've been back here.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, it was 11th time having it, and it was the worst. I had to go to the hospital, get breathing treatment.
Yeah.
It was bad. It hurt to talk.
Okay.
I'm good now. Promise.
Nice, man.
But yeah.
Right on, man.
Just getting back here this afternoon, as soon as I'm talking with the shift change and debriefing with him, they're like, this big fire, like they made it out way worse.
Oh,
what it
okay.
was, and I
Yeah.
was like, what's going on?
No, it was like, he popped out, and I was like, damn. I thought you were like one of our detectives at first.
I know some of the guys were with the task force, but it's really with the sheriff. What do you say?
Yeah, try that way then. Well, yeah, use your best judgment. Yeah, you're on. Okay.
Yeah, I deal with more of the parole and probation than anything. With over there at the Kitsap Sheriff's Department,
the detectives over there. I know more of those guys than anything out here.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Right on, man. How long you been?
Well, so I retired from Baltimore City after 27 years. Came out here. It took about a year for me to end up going back into an agency. Went with Thurston at first, Thurston Sheriff's Department. There was a lot of things going on, and they wanted to put me in the jail. I was like, nah, I got better things. So, I know a lot of detectives from Edmonds, from the gang network and stuff like that. The anti-narcotics training on base every year. Guys that they're like, hey man, let's see if it gets you on. I had to go back to get the Washington Post and the RCWs.
How long you been a detective with Edmonds?
About 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. 2 years with the robbery. I started with robbery and now with the gang intelligence.
Dang, it's pretty hardcore. Right on, man. Hey, I just gotta stop by for a
My name's Stiletto, by the way.
Stiletto?
Stiletto. Yeah.
Stiletto?
Are you going to be back here tonight?
I mean, I'm working.
Give you a card or something.
Oh, okay. I'm working all night, so yeah.
You'll see me. I'll be out here all night.
All right, man.
Fresh air, man, and I'll grab a card for you and give it to you, man.
Cool.
All right, and what's your name again?
Officer Trask.
Sorry.
Trask.
But here's the thing. Something felt off. The officers seemed to notice that his flashlight was seemingly positioned behind his firearm holster. That's a problem because it would make it very, very difficult, if not impossible, to draw his weapon. And his body camera looked like not the standard one from Axon. And the story about working security at the Salvation Army while being an active detective, that seemingly raised eyebrows. So the next day, officers went back to the Salvation Army. They asked him to produce a commission card. It's the official ID that proves you're law enforcement.
Okay, see another unit routine, please. Is he working security for you?
Yeah. Have a good moment, yeah.
That guy is?
I'll be back shortly. Are you good?
I'm good.
Good?
Yeah.
You want to come back over here?
Yeah. I was talking to some other guys. So you work for Edmonds PD?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is a part-time gig.
I got you. Do you have your commission card with you today?
Yeah, give me a minute.
Here.
No. It's got it on the side. Yeah, it's got everything in there.
No, didn't find it?
Sorry? No, he's going to. It's in my other bag.
Oh, okay.
It's, he's grabbing it now.
Okay, how long have you been working for the Salvation Army?
Sorry?
How long have you been working off duty for the Salvation Army?
I'm here almost every other week.
Every other week?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I also work down at the KRM.
Okay. And what's your full name?
Mezzy Scaletta. M-E-Z-Z-Y.
That's your-
S-C-A-L-E-T-T-A.
So your first name is Mezzy?
M-E-Z-Z-Y, correct.
And Scaletta?
S-C-A-L-E-T-T-A.
Okay, what's your middle initial?
Anthony. As soon as he gets back up.
What's a good phone number for you?
Hey, man. Yeah, it's going to be the green bag, and it's got the my wallet with the credentials and everything on the side of it. And no, upstairs. Yeah. My bad. My apologies. Thank you.
Wait, can you, Sarge? Can you stay over here?
Please grab it. All right, I'll see you in a minute.
So Scaletta's accused of stalling. Credentials were in his bag. They were upstairs. Then he allegedly started digging through a lunch bag that only had Coca-Colas and an empty badge holder. So the officers move in. They pat him down, and this is when they find a loaded firearm.
Is it a loaded firearm that you have with you, Mr. Scaletta?
Correct.
Okay, can you put your hands on the car, please? I'm not familiar with the retention of this holster. Just keep your hands right there.
Can we not do this in front of everybody? I mean, really?
Yeah.
You're doing just fine keeping your hands
Okay.
on that.
Yeah.
I appreciate
no
it.
problem, man. Can I contact my command as soon as y'all are...
Do you have any other firearms down there?
No, sir.
I'll have you. So you're not under arrest right now?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Can you call my...
Yeah, we can take care of all that.
Yeah.
We can take care of all that. We can make all the phone calls. It can easily be done. All right.
And so...
His credentials. What agency did you say you were with?
Edmund?
You were with Edmund.
Edmund, yes. Okay.
You understand me just being detained?
I understand the whole process. Yes, I do. Okay.
You want to take photos? Yes, please. Mr. Scaletta, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to time talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. Now, if I afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights, not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand?
Turn around, face me, please. You stand right there.
Wait for turn dead on you.
Say go ahead. You ready?
No, I'm hearing them. Lester Scaletta, Sam, Charles, Adam, Lincoln, Edward, Tom, Adam. First name Mezzi, Mary Edward Zebra Young, middle A Anthony, 1976, 0810. Mezzi A. Scaletta is what he gave me. Yeah, that's what I wrote down from the report.
Sorry?
What'd you say your name was?
Message still running.
Is it okay if I check your phone?
Absolutely. Can you grab my credentials and everything out there, please?
Where is it at? In the front?
Should be in the front, okay. Actually, is it hey, where the radios are? It's the other. Yeah, it's there. Sorry.
First name's Michael. Same middle, last is Scaletta -Pepez. Same date of birth. He's returning with a DUL record out of Lacey. No valid driver's license.
Receive.
When they ran his information, here's what reportedly came back. Scaletta was a convicted felon. Back in 2016, he had served time for a felony bomb hoax out in North Carolina. He didn't even have a valid driver's license. And when they called Edmonds PD, they reportedly said he doesn't even work there. So what made this case particularly alarming, after everything I'm saying, was that Scaletta wasn't just, allegedly wearing the costume. According to police, he had been actively responding to calls. Earlier that same night, he'd shown up to a trespassing call, or was accused of showing up to a trespassing call at a 7-Eleven. He was accused of essentially patrolling the downtown corridor, armed, wearing a police vest, inserting himself into real-life law enforcement situations.
I'm gonna get a photo of your badge here too.
I think Jeff has.
Did you read them yet?
Yeah, I read them.
Okay. He did.
He did?
Yeah.
That's why.
Okay. What was your first name?
Messi. M-E-Z-Z-Y.
Messi, I'm Trevor. So, do you understand why you're detained right now or no?
I don't know.
I think
why, why you did doing what you're doing. But,
Okay. Is it okay if I explain some of it?
Sure.
Okay. So first off, if you are a commissioned police officer in this state, you'll be taken out of cuffs, and I will formally apologize.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Here's a couple of problems, though. I'm one of the supervisors in the city right now. If Salvation Army is hiring uniformed commissioned law enforcement, who's going to be carrying badge, gun, vest, especially not in our agency, as far as I'm concerned, let me finish. Let me finish.
First of all, I did not have a weapon on while I was on duty, and I was leaving. I'm off duty. I was leaving.
Okay.
Okay. So that's number one.
Let him explain.
Okay.
Let him explain.
Sure. Go ahead.
So if you're us, and especially if you're law enforcement, you understand. We see a guy with a detective badge, police badge. I think there's a SWAT badge somewhere.
Yeah.
On there as well, right? In our jurisdiction, and we haven't been notified that hey, Salvation Army's got armed law enforcement. And that's not true. You might have just been going from your employment to your car. However, when we came across you, right, you're uniformed and armed. When we came across you, that's an accurate story. So the concern is, especially because we weren't given notification, right?
I'm not operating. I'm not working. I'm not.
Well, here's the problem.
Leaving.
Well, it's Mezzi, right?
Correct.
Here's the problem with that. You're leaving. Even if you're leaving, Salvation Army, this is the #1 crime hotspot in the entire city for us.
I know this.
Let me tell you.
I'm a retired Baltimore City.
Okay.
27 years. I come out here. Okay.
Let me
I
talk.
mean, I get it.
Then let me
I'm
talk.
sorry.
Well, I don't. I think we're getting our wires crossed a little bit because what I'm trying to get you to understand is, I understand that you're just leaving if you're off duty, but if you know that this is the highest crime area, right? If you know this is the highest crime area in the city, and you know that that's likely to do with your law enforcement experience, and we're going to be in the area, probably not the best idea to be wearing a vest, armed, going to and from, because it's going to make us think some things up to and including possible criminal impersonation of a police officer. That's why you're detained. We get all that checked out, and you know what? Sure. This might be an error for their bosses and our bosses, because if this is all true, right, and we weren't, and we just weren't notified, that's what could have solved this, is an email saying, hey, just so you know, there's a guy, he's law enforcement, he's being hired off duty at Salvation Army, you may see him come and go from the parking lot. That's what we'd say. Sounds good. We've heard nothing.
Okay.
Have you heard anything about this? No. Have you heard anything about this?
So we might have called Edmonds last night.
The sheriff?
What?
We might have called Edmonds PD last night.
Yeah.
Not on the payroll.
Yeah. Say it again?
Yeah, we're not on the payroll.
We called Edmonds last night. Is it okay if I go through this?
Yes,
to,
please.
To find this stuff?
And then I can. Hold on.
There's.
Oh, that's not my bag. That's. No, it's the one with the Gatorade, the electrolytes, to the spare XTS battery. It's the one with the spare XTS battery in it.
And even after being confronted, Scaletta seemingly kept insisting he was a cop. He allegedly told the officers to check his credentials, to call his command. But when one of the supervisors laid out the facts, or the alleged facts, Edmonds PD said he was never on their payroll. Their database showed a felony conviction, and he'd been rolling up or accused of rolling up to active scenes armed and in full tactical gear. And that is when Scaletta seemingly, finally, invoked his right to remain silent. He was booked into jail on charges of first-degree criminal impersonation and second-degree unlawful possession of a firearm. And at his court hearing in September of 2025, he pleaded not guilty. Judge set his bail at $50,000. And as of the latest available records, his case remained pending with no public update on whether it went to trial or resolved through a plea. But what a case, to say the least. But now we go to our final case. Maybe the strangest one of all, because the person pretending to be someone they weren't wasn't wearing a badge or a uniform. She was wearing a high school basketball jersey. Shelby Hewitt. And by the way, Shelby, at the time all this went down, was a 30-something-year-old social worker. But for months, she was living a double life so bizarre that it left a whole school district asking, how on earth did we miss this? Let me set the scene. It's the 2022-2023 school year. A new student shows up at Jeremiah E. Burke High School in Dorchester, Massachusetts, and that school is now called Albert D. Holland High School, just so you know. And the student says her name is Daniela Herrera, and she's a 16-year-old foster kid. She's quiet, she's got this tough backstory, joins the girls' basketball team. Everyone thinks she's just a new student trying to fit in. Here's the thing. Daniela was actually Shelby Hewitt. She wasn't 16, she was in her 30s, and this wasn't a one-off thing. And as investigators started digging, they realized that between September 2022 and June 2023, Shelby had used multiple fake identities to enroll in at least 3 different high schools. She was apparently so committed to the bit that she created fake documents, weaving this whole narrative that she was just this kid in the Massachusetts foster care system. Now, the details here are what really get me, because at Burke High, she didn't just sit in the back of the class. She joined the basketball team. She picked jersey number 32, which, you got to think about it. That was her real age at the time. It's a little on the nose, right? You got to call it for what it is. But it gets wilder. She eventually requested a transfer to Brighton High School. And then in June of 2023, she tried to enroll at English High School in Jamaica Plain, this time posing as a 13-year-old under a different name. So within a year, she went from a 16-year-old foster kid to a 13-year-old with a whole new backstory. Now, how did she finally get caught? It's actually a pretty small detail that seemingly unraveled the whole thing, because according to reporting from NBC 10 Boston, a man shows up at English High School claiming to be her dad, saying he was pulling her out because she was being bullied. But the school administrators reportedly thought that was odd. She had only been enrolled for a week, and they were literally in the middle of trying to help with the bullying situation. So they did what they were supposed to do. They called the school district to verify some of her enrollment paperwork. And that is when they found errors. They tried to call the social worker that was listed on her forms. Guess what? That person didn't exist. And here's the thing. The students had started to notice something was off, way before the paperwork did, by the way. Some of her classmates said her stories just didn't always line up. At first they chalked it up to, claiming to have a traumatic past. She told people she had been abused and trafficked, which might explain the inconsistencies. But then, according to the Boston Globe, some students did a little digging. And what did they find? They found Shelby Hewitt's actual yearbook photo from when she went to Sharon High School back in 2007. Imagine being a teenager and realizing the person sitting next to you in class was using a photo from when they were your age, but that photo was taken 15 years earlier. Now, no word on if the man allegedly pretending to be Hewitt's dad was ever found or charged, but Shelby was arrested. An arrest warrant was issued in June of 2023. She turned herself in. She was released on a $5,000 bond, strict conditions. She couldn't go near any schools or contact the people there. Mass Live spoke with a woman who attended Burke High School at the same time as Hewitt and actually befriended her. She told the outlet, "It just makes me hard to trust people. It makes me question, is this person or is this just like another Shelby?" Moving forward, I think a lot of students are going to continue to feel betrayal. Even though it happened 3 years ago, they would never forget how that made them feel at the time. That's the big part. That's the harm here. And according to her, Hewitt became friends with students ages 13 through 16. And get this, at the same time that she was pretending to be a high schooler, ostensibly going to classes and playing sports, making friends with actual children, she was also employed by the Department of Children and Families as a social worker herself, collecting her $54,000 a year salary while posing as a teenager. She also reportedly created fake identities for DCF workers to help with the enrollment process. And it wasn't just at school that Hewitt was reportedly pretending to be a teen. She also apparently used her DCF resources to enroll in Walden Behavioral Care for an eating disorder. You're talking about a clinic in Dedham, Massachusetts, where she once again claimed to be Daniela Herrera. Now, Hewitt no longer worked for DCF, but the exact circumstances surrounding her leaving, whether she was fired or quit, never made clear. But after several delays, Hewitt was supposed to go to trial in Suffolk County Superior Court, but instead, the court announced that a plea agreement had been reached.
My understanding is that there is an agreed upon disposition in this case for a plea of guilty. I have had the opportunity already to review your Board of Probation record. I'm fully familiar with this case, as you know, and I've already had the opportunity to look at the guidelines here. So what we're going to do is we're going to move forward with that process, okay?
So, Hewitt, now 34, pled guilty February 3rd, 2026 to charges of forgery, fraud, violating public employee conduct standards. 4 other charges were dismissed. And Hewitt's attorney told the court that his client had long-term mental health problems, that she had started receiving treatment. Hewitt herself addressed some of those issues during her statement.
Thank you, Your Honor, for letting me speak. I'm truly sorry for the harm that I know that I have caused, and I recognize that my conduct disrupted the Boston Public Schools and caused confusion, alarm, and probably fear to students, families, and staff. I should never have been there, and through my actions, I violated the trust of the school community, my family, and everybody in my life that loved me. And I am deeply sorry for the pain that I caused, and I carry a lot of shame every day regarding it. And so I was not being a good person. And I am continuing intensive mental health treatment, medication, and counseling to try to be a better one. And I know that that doesn't undo the harm that I know that I caused, but I accept full responsibility, and I hope that anyone I hurt can heal from it. And I'm very truly sorry for my incredibly selfish decisions.
And in the end, Hewitt was ordered to serve 4 years of probation for each guilty plea, which were served concurrently, so at the same time. And if the sentences had been consecutive, she would have faced 20 years of supervision. She also had to pay more than $9,000 in restitution. Now, as part of her probation, she had to continue getting therapy and taking any medication she was prescribed and stay away from all Boston public schools. She couldn't work as a social worker, and she couldn't seek a social worker's license. But that wasn't the end of the story. No, there were still a lot of questions surrounding how this could have happened, especially when you learn that Hewitt had at one point moved in with her longtime therapist, who allegedly sat alongside her as she enrolled. Yeah, that's another part of this case. So according to the Boston Globe, Rebecca Burnett, also sometimes called Becky, a licensed clinical social worker and former supervisor at Walden Behavioral Care, apparently faced disciplinary action. Burnett expressed shock when the allegations against Hewitt came out, but many questioned how much she actually knew about Hewitt's true background. But prosecutors allege that Hewitt told Burnett and other Walden employees that she was so traumatized from being trafficked as a child, she couldn't remember her real age. But the Globe reported that Hewitt had actually been enrolled at Walden Behavioral Care before, using her real name, her true identity. And anonymous employees and former patients claimed there was no way Burnett wouldn't have remembered her. And why did she allegedly let Hewitt move in with her? Right? That's at some point. Hewitt, apparently posing as a foster child, moved in with Burnett and her partner, a man named John Smith. So that's strange, right? That allegation. I mean, you could be talking about a potential ethical violation, patient-therapist living together. But Burnett's lawyer, Connie Tran, told the Globe after Hewitt's arrest, quote, Hewitt utilized various fabricated personas to deceive Walden, BPS, and Rebecca into believing she was in fact a child who is legally in DCF's custody. Tran also claimed Rebecca did not facilitate Shelby Hewitt's enrollment into BPS. Rather, Hewitt undertook this action independently. But school administrators pushed back, insisting just didn't track. Reporter Patricia Wen wrote in a 2024 Boston Globe article, quote, they say Burnett was present either on Zoom or in person to complete enrollment paperwork in August of 2022 for 16-year-old Daniela Herrera, and then in June 2023 for 13-year-old Ellie Blake. Officials say Burnett's use of a second name in the school system, Ellie, raises questions about how certain she was about the truth of the first one, Daniela. So according to the Globe, at least 6 complaints were filed against Burnett with the State Social Worker Board after Hewitt's arrest. And she no longer worked for Walden Behavioral, though the Globe reported that people they contacted at the clinic wouldn't confirm if she'd been fired. Her attorney for her social work licensing, Paul Sorrell, told the Boston Globe that hearings on her case were expected to begin in the summer of 2026. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check us out on NBC's Peacock. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you next time, everybody.
In total, that means that the department produced approximately 3.5 million pages in compliance with the act.
Literally millions of Jeffrey Epstein files have just been released. And these are new details. These are things about President Trump. These are things about Bill Gates. These are things about Bill Clinton. And these are things about Elon Musk. We are going to try to get to some of the highlights of some things that are happening right now and maybe give us details and a glimpse into Jeffrey Epstein's world. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. All right, quite the update for you. So the DOJ announcing today that they are releasing more than 3 million pages of files in the Jeffrey Epstein probe. Now, this, of course, is pursuant to a Transparency Act that was passed by Congress. And we got to get into what we're seeing here. Now, to be clear, we're not going through 3 million pages, but we do have some highlights that we got to address. We got to put into context, too. I should also note that what is not being released and what we will probably never likely see, I should note that as well, there are things, according to Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, that are allowed to be withheld under the law. These are files that contain, personally identifiable information of victims, victims' personal and medical files, any similar files, any depiction of child sexual abuse material, anything that would jeopardize an active federal investigation. Maybe that's a bit broad. And we may never actually know what any of this may be, but we got to take the government at its word. Anything that depicts or contains images of death, physical abuse, or injury, files covered by various privileges, so things like that. Actually, here's a section of what Todd Blanche had to say.
We complied with the act, and there is no... we did not protect President Trump. We didn't protect or not protect anybody. I mean, I think that there's a hunger or a thirst for information that I do not think will be satisfied by the review of these documents. And there's nothing I can do about that.
Okay, so now there's a lot here to get through. Like, for example, Epstein accomplice, convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. Her arrest photos are in there. This includes pictures from her home in New Hampshire where she was picked up. How about this? An email between First Lady Melania Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell from 2002, where she seemingly writes, "Dear G, how are you? Nice story about J.E., Jeffrey Epstein, in New York Mag. You look great in the picture." Or how about the current U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, who is apparently a neighbor of Jeffrey Epstein in New York City, where he allegedly sent an email to Epstein's assistant in 2015 inviting Epstein to a Democratic fundraiser for Hillary Clinton. Remember, Clinton ran against Trump? Oh, and then there's this. Bill Gates looking to get STD medication. Bombshell allegation that President Trump assaulted a minor. We're going to put that one into context, though. A lot here, a lot I want to get into, and there's definitely more about President Trump. There's more about former President Bill Clinton, Elon Musk. I want to bring on attorney Richard Schoenstein, though, to discuss all this. Rich, thanks so much for taking the time to do this. There's a big points that we're going to get into, but just general thoughts on the release so far. After you have read 3 million pages, what are your main takeaways?
Yeah, well, I haven't read every line or watched every video or looked at every photo, and there's a lot here. But I think of it sort of the same way I think about litigation, where there are often very large document productions. And parties like to justify the way they're acting in litigation by saying, look at how many documents we produced. We produced so many documents. But often it's what's not produced. And my understanding here is there's a substantial amount of material that still hasn't been produced, and a substantial amount of material that is redacted. So we're going to look at what has been produced and analyze it as best we can, but this is not complete.
Okay, so let's start with what has been produced. And I have to start with the bombshell, okay? This bombshell concerning the President Trump. Now, there is apparently a sexual assault allegation that I'm about to read, and I want to put it into context. It seems the Department of Justice made a list of all of the sexual assault claims against the president. We don't really know why they put this list together, but it should be noted these are tips, meaning they're unverified claims. And according to CNN, this list was in an email that was sent from the FBI New York's field office to the Child Exploitation and Human Trafficking Task Force. So you could also argue this looks to be secondhand information, maybe even third-hand information in many cases. Now, the DOJ made that clear in a statement. Quote, "This production may include fake or falsely submitted images, documents, or videos, as everything that was sent to the FBI by the public was included in the production that is responsive to the act. Some of the documents contain untrue and sensationalistic claims against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they have a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. Put that to the side. But we are going to warn you, the allegations made in these tips are very disturbing. For example, quote, Redacted reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform oral sex on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis that she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after laughing about biting President Trump. The friend said she was also abused by Epstein. And the log states that this tip was sent to the Washington office to conduct an interview. The next tip reads, Redacted reported she had a friend, Redacted, who was a personal assistant to Epstein in Florida from 1986 until 1991 or 1992. This friend shared names of the guests at Epstein's parties to include Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Now, there's a call log that indicates that 2 voicemails were left for this complainant, but there was never a response. And then you have a tipster who connects the Alexander brothers, you know, the guys that are under federal indictment. They're in federal trial right now in New York for allegedly sex trafficking women. We've been covering it here on Sidebar. They allegedly have a connection to Epstein. Quote, at age 16, while modeling, caller attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, caller reported she was sexually assaulted by Epstein. On another occasion, 2 twin brothers, Alon and Orrin, lured caller and her friend upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. Caller stated Orrin raped her best friend, and a third brother, Tal, raped a 14-year-old girl named Redacted. Caller named other individuals involved in, quote, big orgy parties with her, other young girls, and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Online complainant reported she was a victim and witness to a sex trafficking ring at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes, California between 1995 and 1996. Complainant reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and broker for sex parties, clients of whom included Epstein, Robin Leach, and Donald Trump. Quote, the guests were older men and included Elon Musk, Don Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump were there. Attorney Alan Dershowitz was also there with attorney Bob Shapiro. We were taken in rooms, forced to give to Donald Trump, forced to allow, I think this says penetration. I was 13 years old when Donald J. Trump raped me. Ghislaine Maxwell was also present. Okay, Rich, what do we make of this? I mean, because there does become a question of whether or not these are credible claims.
Yeah, and that's really difficult, Jesse. You know, on one hand, some of what's asserted here is consistent with other allegations we've heard over the years against the president and certainly against Jeffrey Epstein, right? This is consistent with things we've heard. But in these files, it's not. It's sort of sometimes secondhand or third-hand hearsay. These are allegations. These are not things that were proven in court. These are not things that were taken to court. And in fairness, it's hard to give them that much credibility without knowing more. Now, if you had these allegations, you might want to do an investigation. And I'm a little bit put back by the DOJ saying, you know, these are meritless or these are false or none of this is true. That seems to go too far the other direction. But I don't know that we have enough information here to say we've established additional criminal conduct.
It is interesting to note, if we're questioning the transparency of the DOJ, if you really believe they were going to hide information, they never would have released this. I mean, at the very least, it's embarrassing for the president. No? I mean, so does it not give you a little bit of hope that they are releasing everything that they can release?
I see the argument to that extent. I think the DOJ has a credibility problem right off the bat because the guy who's leading this was Trump's personal lawyer. So I don't know how much credibility you can have when you're spearheading an investigation and you've come directly from Donald Trump's legal team to the DOJ to do this. That's a credibility problem. And the DOJ over the past year has had tons of credibility problems. They have credibility problems right now based on what they've said about what's happening in Minneapolis. I mean, they're telling us things that obviously aren't true if you've watched videotape. So they have a big credibility problem. It's hard to take them at their word about any of this, frankly.
Let me ask you, and to be clear, law enforcement has never accused the president of any wrongdoing regarding Epstein. He's never been criminally charged or implicated. Let me ask you about Elon Musk. Elon Musk has come up in this. So Elon Musk comes up in this document dump in an email exchange from December 2013. Quote, "Will be in the BVI," so the British Virgin Islands, / St. Bart's area over the holidays. Is there a good time to visit? And then a response from JEE Vacation responds, "I will send heli for you," probably meaning like a helicopter for you. Quote, "Actually, I could fly back early on the 3rd. We will be in St. Bart's. When should we head to your island on the 2nd? Quote, "Did we need to organize Elon to your island on January 2nd? Now that's interesting because Musk had previously tweeted, "Epstein tried to get me to go to his island and I refused." Now it's unclear if Musk ever actually followed through with this trip, but it wasn't just the travel to the island that was discussed via email. There's one from September 2012 that reads, "What does JE think of going to Mar-a-Lago after Christmas instead of his island?" And the sender and recipient are both redacted, but it's kind of unclear whether if this was a response to this. But again, it does make me question when I read something like this, Rich, big name, flashy, but there were people who were always connected to Epstein and people who may have traveled on his jet or in his inner circle. Doesn't automatically equate to guilt. It doesn't automatically equate to them being involved in criminal activity or having knowledge of criminal activity. But I do wonder if it actually supports Elon Musk in a way.
I don't know. It is true. Jeffrey Epstein had social interactions with a whole lot of rich and powerful people, including Donald Trump, including Bill Clinton, and possibly including Elon Musk and many others. And that is something unfortunate that we've learned, that a person who had so many, did so many bad things, was able to establish these connections with the rich and powerful. But it doesn't mean that everybody he had a connection with engaged in criminal activity. I would be shocked if it meant that. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if people who did have contact with Jeffrey Epstein tried to downplay that in the wake of what we all know, even if the contact was innocent.
Let me ask you this. Based on Todd Blanche's statement that they can redact anything that's part of an ongoing investigation, does this mean that they're not, I wouldn't be surprised, it's the president's own DOJ, but that they're not investigating Elon Musk, they're not investigating President Trump, and I'll talk about Bill Clinton in a minute, I'll talk about Bill Gates in a minute. Does that mean that they're not investigating them? Because otherwise they wouldn't be able to release this information, right?
I don't necessarily connect that. First of all, there's sometimes some of this stuff gets released and then pulled back. I think even today there have been some instances of things that were released and then pulled back. I don't have any reason to believe that the Department of Justice is investigating the president or Elon Musk for anything. I would be frankly surprised if they were, but I don't take that from what's been released. I just assume that from other facts.
Now, let's talk about former President Bill Clinton, who has come up quite a lot in the Jeffrey Epstein conversation. When Epstein sat for a deposition, this came out today, when Epstein sat for a deposition in the Virginia Giuffre lawsuit, this is an Epstein accuser. Remember, she filed a lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell, a defamation lawsuit. This was unsealed, I believe, in 2024. In this deposition from 2016, he sits down and he would always invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination when he was asked about his connection or association or friendship with President Bill Clinton or the Clinton Foundation. For example, it was questions like, please describe all dinners you've ever had with Bill Clinton. And he would say, the fifth, please describe all dinners you and Maxwell have ever had with Bill Clinton. Fifth, please describe all dinners you, Maxwell, and Virginia have had with Bill Clinton. Fifth. Or how about this exchange? Isn't it true that at the time period 2000 to 2001, you were close friends with Bill Clinton? Fifth. And even to 2002, you remained close friends with Bill Clinton, right? Fifth. Bill Clinton flew on your jet a number of times in 2002, right? Fifth. In May of 2002, Bill Clinton was on your jet several times, right? Fifth. How about this one? You've heard of the Clinton Foundation, right? Fifth. Please describe all of your interactions with the Clinton Foundation. Fifth, is it true that you helped Bill Clinton organize the Clinton Foundation? Fifth, did you discuss with Bill Clinton the idea of creating a foundation? Fifth. Now, Clinton has always denied the allegations. He's always denied having any knowledge of what Epstein was up to. His spokesperson said that the president cut off ties with the disgraced financier before he was charged with soliciting prostitution in 2006. But is it strange to you, Rich, that he kept invoking the fifth every 5 seconds when it came to Clinton?
So sometimes defendants or witnesses will cut off an entire line of questioning with a Fifth Amendment right. And so it may be that he was under the view that if he was asked anything about Clinton, he would take the fifth and not answer it, as was his right as being, a criminal defendant or under investigation or whatever he was at that moment. There's nothing we can do about that. I do think it's a little troubling that Bill Clinton hasn't been more forthcoming with answers about all of this stuff other than just kind of a general denial. I find that disappointing as well.
When you couple that also with the photos that were released of Clinton recently, right, in the pool, the hot tub, whatever it was. And by the way, the Clintons recently refused a subpoena from the House Oversight Committee to have them testify. There's now a question. The House voted to hold the Clintons in contempt. You tell me, does this cast a suspicious net around him?
Sure. I think you're justified to say, gee, Clinton, made some trips to Trump Epstein Island, and what's that all about, and why is he refusing to answer questions about it? And I understand that people have questions about that. And I understand people saying he should have answered the congressional subpoena, and those proceedings will play out however they play out. I will say, though, that Bill Clinton is no longer president and hasn't been in several decades and is not running for office and has maybe a lesser need to justify himself in public than other people.
By the way, if you want a full breakdown of what it could mean for the president to possibly be held in contempt, Jesse Weber Live on News Nation. I did a full breakdown of that Monday through Friday.
Great show.
Go
get it.
Eastern.
Go get it.
Thank you. Okay, so back to this. I have to talk about Bill Gates. This was another bombshell. So back in 2013, the way that I'm understanding this is Jeffrey Epstein allegedly claimed that the Microsoft co-founder was basically looking to get some medication to treat an STD because of having sex with Russian girls, okay? So Epstein had apparently penned this draft email on behalf of a Gates advisor because this person looks like wanted to leave the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So it says, quote, "During the past few weeks, I've been caught up in a severe marital dispute between Melinda and Bill. In my role as his right hand, I have been asked on multiple occasions and in hindsight wrongly acquiesced into participating in things that have ranged from the morally inappropriate to the ethically unsound, and had been repeatedly asked to do other things that get near and potentially over the line into the illegal. From helping Bill to get drugs in order to deal with consequences of sex with Russian girls, to facilitating his illicit trysts with married women, to being asked to provide Adderall. I feel I owe it to my friends and future colleagues to admit a moral failure, to ask forgiveness, and to move on with my life." And then there is apparently a separate draft email to Bill Gates, where again Epstein is portraying himself as this advisor. Called Bill Gates said that he's engaged in a cover-up so that you can maintain the reputation that you've worked so hard to achieve. Implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD. You request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your I am concerned that if Melinda decides, as you said, to file for a public divorce, the damage done to the pledge program alone would result in billions of dollars of money no longer being used for social good, as I'm sure that some wives and husbands would feel free to retreat from their commitments. Now, this is a complicated one, Rich. So again, it's like Epstein speaking on behalf of somebody else. I have no idea if these allegations are true, but your thoughts?
Yeah, well, and that's a big problem with this entire endeavor. So these are salacious allegations. There have been, those kind of allegations about Bill Gates in the past, and there often are those kind of allegations against the rich and powerful. But a problem with this Epstein file endeavor is documents don't usually prove anything standing alone. And releasing the documents, like I'm for it. I think transparency is good. I don't see why these were withheld. I think there's some value here, but it's going to be hard to prove anything unless you have government offices investigating earnestly and prosecuting when they're aware of misconduct. You're not going to get to the bottom of it and get, criminal convictions and the like. Otherwise, all you're going to get are millions of documents and millions of questions.
Now, a spokesperson for Bill Gates has rejected any allegations that were laid out here and basically said these claims are absolutely absurd and completely false. The only thing these documents demonstrate is Epstein's frustration that he did not have an ongoing relationship with Gates and the lengths he would go to entrap and defame. By the way, just going back to Epstein, we talk about so many other people. Look at this allegation that Epstein assaulted a minor girl after she told him she previously had been molested. Okay, apparently she told the FBI this back in 2021. It's from a 302. It's a witness interview. We don't know if the FBI found evidence to substantiate this, but the notes say that this victim felt degraded when she went to Epstein's place, that she felt taken advantage of, that she said she also felt happy because she got a bunch of money from massages, but clearly this is just another point in Epstein's playbook. So you couple that, Rich, with the Gates thing, right? It goes to this pattern of power, taking advantage of people, trying to compromise them. I mean, there are aspects of this, we think about everybody else, but it does go back to the evil that was Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, 100%. Jeffrey Epstein was a horrible person and did many terrible things, including some of the things we're talking about, but also in a business sense. And he turned on people. He could not be trusted. You would not trust him if he was testifying. If he was testifying and he didn't take the fifth, you wouldn't trust him. And you can't really trust what he wrote in an email years and years and years ago. And it makes this endeavor, again, very difficult because you have an inherently untrustworthy source writing things that are not complete thoughts in any event. It just becomes very hard to piece it together.
Okay, let's see where this goes. I'm sure we'll maybe do another episode because there's going to be more things that come out of 3 million documents. Rich Schoenstein, 3 million pages, I should say. Rich Schoenstein, great seeing you. Thanks for taking the time. As always, appreciate it.
Always my pleasure to be here. See you soon.
And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you should get your podcasts. Also, we're up on NBC's Peacock as well. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, Jesse Weber Live, my show on News Nation, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you next time, everybody. A retired two-star Air Force general has vanished without a trace. A man once tied to UFO research. And just days after President Donald Trump ordered the release of government UFO files, and now comments from Hillary Clinton in her Epstein deposition are adding a new twist. This is raising all kinds of questions about, aliens. Do they exist? And where is this general? We're going to break it all down with a private investigator, help us unpack what may really be going on here. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. All right, can we be honest about something real quick before we jump into this? When most people look at their bank statements, the amount of DoorDash orders over the last 2 years is probably a little embarrassing, right? I mean, I just saw a report that is going to make you put your phone down right now. Why? There are serious allegations coming out that the app may have tracked your precise location and shared it with third parties without your consent, potentially capitalizing on sensitive data. It's actually a huge privacy deal, but here's the thing. Morgan & Morgan, they're jumping in to investigate. So if you've used the app between 2023 and 2025, you can easily check to see if you qualify for a claim. And if you do, you may be entitled to compensation. You can visit forthepeople.com/sidebar DoorDash or click the link in the description for a free case review. It just takes 5 minutes or less, and hope you can check it out. A retired Air Force general with reported ties to one of the most famous UFO research sites in the United States seemingly has vanished in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Major General William McCaslin, the former commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, has now been missing for nearly a week. The sheriff's office is asking for tips right now. The FBI is assisting in the search right now. And the timing of his disappearance, just days after these renewed calls to release government UFO files, it has obviously sparked intense curiosity. According to authorities, on the morning of February 27th, McCaslin just disappeared. No confirmed witnesses, no clothing description released, no known direction of travel, just gone. Now that timing, to be clear, we can't ignore it, okay? But we're also not suggesting that it is related to this, but we have to mention, okay? 8 days before McCaslin vanished, President Donald Trump posted this message on Truth Social. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, and unidentified flying objects. And then what happened? Hillary Clinton, right, the former Secretary of State, former First Lady, sat for a deposition in the House GOP's investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Remember, we talked about this, we covered it on Sidebar, the House Oversight Committee. Now, the questioning wasn't about UFOs, but that topic did briefly come up. Listen to this.
When your husband was president, it was Lawrence Rockefeller had an effort to try to disclose UFOs, UAPs. When you were running for president, John Podesta publicly stated that you would disclose these files if given the chance, if you had been president. Are you pleased to see that these files may be disclosed finally?
I am pleased. As I say, I think.
So you heard a name there, John Podesta. Now, Podesta served as Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign chairman. Before that, he was White House Chief of Staff under President Bill Clinton and later a senior advisor to President Barack Obama. Here is where things take another turn. 2016, WikiLeaks published thousands of emails from Podesta's account, and that included messages from Tom DeLonge, the guitarist from the band Blink-182, who has since become very involved in UFO research projects. In those emails, DeLonge claimed he had been working with individuals connected to the military on UFO-related initiatives. One of the people that he named was General William McCaslin. So DeLonge wrote that McCaslin had advised him and helped connect him with potential advisors for his research efforts, although it doesn't appear that McCaslin himself confirmed that he did this. But here's the timeline. February 19th, the president announces plans to release government UFO files. February 26th, Hillary Clinton is asked about UFO disclosure during a deposition and references Podesta's long-standing interest in the topic. And the next day, February 27th, General William McCaslin is reported missing in Albuquerque. Okay, now again, to be clear, there is no evidence linking these events together, and authorities have not suggested any connection. But I mean, how do I not mention this? When a retired Air Force general with reported ties to a major research laboratory disappears and his name appears in past discussions about UFO disclosures, and that's what the topic is right now, the case is naturally drawing attention. And what happened to him? What actually happened to McCaslin? So here's what investigators say they know so far, and why this disappearance has people very, very curious. According to the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office, William Neal McCaslin is 68 years old. He stands about 5'11", weighs roughly 160 pounds, white hair, blue eyes. On the morning of February 27th, he was last seen in the area of Quail Run Court NE in Albuquerque. That is according to a missing persons bulletin that the Sheriff's Office released to the public. Authorities say they don't have a description of what he was wearing. They don't know which direction he went. What they did say, and this is directly from that bulletin, is that McCaslin has unspecified medical issues, and because of those issues, law enforcement is concerned for his safety. This is something that I want to talk about a little bit more. But the Sheriff's Office has specifically asked residents in the Quail Run area to check any security camera footage from the morning of February 27th. Doorbell cameras, driveway cameras, anything that might have captured McCaslin or a vehicle leaving that area. Now you go back to McCaslin. According to his official U.S. Air Force biography, William McCaslin graduated from the Air Force Academy in 1979 with a bachelor's degree in astronautical engineering. Over the next 34 years, he held a variety of space research, acquisition, operations roles, including positions with the National Reconnaissance Office and at the Pentagon. Now, the National Reconnaissance Office, by the way, is one of the most secretive intelligence agencies in the whole country. They build and operate America's spy satellites, so obviously you're not going to know too much about that. But McCaslin wasn't just involved in research. He was apparently involved in the kind of research that happens well above top secret clearance levels. But the position that matters most, at least for this story, at least for the circumstances that we're trying to get a sense of, came in 2011. That is when, according to Air Force records, McCaslin took command of the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. He held that command until his retirement from the Air Force in October of 2013. The Dayton Daily News and other outlets have reported on the significance of this role because as commander, McCaslin oversaw the Air Force's $2.2 billion science and technology program, plus another $2.2 billion in customer-funded research and development. And here's why that matters for the UFO apparent connection. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base was the headquarters of Project Blue Book. That's according to an article published by Ohio State University titled The Air Force Investigation into UFOs. According to that article, Project Blue Book ran from 1952 to 1969, and over those 17 years, investigators looked into nearly 13,000 reported UFO sightings, and of those, 701 remain officially labeled as unidentified. The same article notes that Project Blue Book was created by the U.S. government because of Cold War-era security concerns, and that it was fueled, in the author's words, by American obsession with the extraterrestrial. That article also features the original 1947 sketch from pilot Kenneth Arnold, the man whose flying saucer description kicked off the modern UFO era, as well as headlines from the flying disc craze that followed. Now, the program concluded that UFOs did not pose a national security threat, found no evidence of extraterrestrial technology, but the location, that specific laboratory at Wright-Patterson, has been at the center of UFO lore for decades. Why? In part because of persisting claims that debris from the 1947 Roswell incident was transported there. Now, those claims have never been officially confirmed. That's not surprising, but they're part of why Wright-Patterson comes up so often in UFO research. And this brings us back to McCaslin. He commanded that laboratory from 2011 until his retirement. And at his change of command ceremony in July of 2013, General Janet Wolfenbarger, then the commander of Air Force Materiel Command, had this to say. This is according to an Air Force publication. Quote, General McCaslin has played a pivotal role in developing several unique capabilities that this country is not only using now, but will rely on in the future to face emerging threats. His contributions leave a lasting positive impact on the Air Force Research Laboratory, Air Force Materiel Command, and our Air Force, and will continue to provide this nation with a technological edge for decades to come. And so then McCaslin retires, remains in New Mexico. We know he was familiar with the area. His Air Force bio shows he previously commanded the Phillips Research Site at Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque. That's where he was, as far as we know, until February 27th, when authorities say he reportedly left his home without his Apple Watch or phone. This triggered a silver alert due to safety concerns regarding a medical condition. And friends who spoke to the Dayton Daily News describe him as an avid hiker, a bike rider, a skier. So this is someone who knew the outdoors, who knew how to take care of himself in rough terrain. It gives you an idea about maybe what might have happened. So I want to bring in somebody who can help us understand what happens next in these cases, a missing persons investigator. He's going to talk to us about what police are looking for, how the timeline works, whether any of this other stuff actually matters when you're trying to find a missing person. But before we even bring him in, I just want to set the stage on one more thing, one more time with what happened in the days before McCaslin vanished, because the timing is going to be something that we have to ask about directly. February 26, Hillary Clinton sat for a deposition in the House GOP's Epstein investigation. At one point, the conversation turned to UFOs. We showed you some of it before. Here is that full exchange.
When your husband was president, it was Lawrence Rockefeller had an effort to try to disclose UFOs, UAPs. When you were running for president, John Podesta publicly stated that you would disclose these files if given the chance, if you had been president. Are you pleased to see that these files may be disclosed finally?
I am pleased. As I say, I think they have to be carefully scrutinized so that no national security information is disclosed. But this is an issue of real importance to so many people, and I think whatever can be disclosed should be disclosed.
Was there a program that specifically that was referencing that you were aware of?
I was not. As you mentioned, John Podesta, who was one of my advisors, was deeply interested in the issue, and if I had been elected, I certainly would have listened to his advice.
Well, thank you for your indulgence on that.
Joining us to help make sense of all of this is a friend of the show, Steve Fisher, private investigator who specializes in missing persons cases. Actually, by the way, as we have Steve, he just came off of a search and rescue mission. He's in a hotel right now. This is the dedication to Sidebar that we have from Steve. Steve, thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I just laid everything out, the general's background, the Wright-Patterson connection, the Trump announcement, the Clinton deposition, the Podesta emails. I want to start with a big question here. When you're looking at a missing persons case like this, which is very different, with all of this going on, context swirling around it, you can't ignore it. How do you, as an investigator, begin to sort through, I guess the best way to say it, what might be relevant and what might be just noise?
And that's the whole trick here is cut through that noise, because with this individual's background, and there's going to be a ton of noise, conspiracy talk, and as searchers, we don't know. We can only go off what we actually have, and I think that what I'd be looking at if I was one of the search commanders would be the fact that the phone and watch was left behind, and that there's this talk of, they activated so I think it's the silver alert out there because of some health issues. And although seems like a very fit, physically active guy, they are talking about some sort of health issue. So seems like there's something going on there, but you can't ignore, his background.
By the way, talk to us, why is that significant they activated the silver alert?
Well, so they'll activate that when somebody's vulnerable, especially vulnerable. And usually that's because they're dependent on medication, or they have some underlying health condition where they can't really maybe survive, a couple days out in the elements. And this is the guy who, from what I've heard from his friends' accounts, super active, knows the area very well. And one of his friends actually described him as an Olympic level skier. So super physically fit, knows the wilderness, military background, but they activate a silver alert. Makes me wonder if maybe he got some sort of recent diagnosis or something, along that lines. But that's pure speculation.
It's not like a situation where necessarily a silver alert says, oh, there's some mental incapacity. They walked out on their own. They don't know what's going on. It could also be, let's say, not to make a comparison, but the Nancy Guthrie case where she needed active medication daily. And if she doesn't have access to that medication, it could be, dire consequences. Could it be something like that? He was getting, again, I have no idea about his medical history, but it could be something just a health-related issue, why he needs to be found sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. And the fact is that they are so strict and worried about HIPAA violations that the searchers probably don't even know what that health condition is. The search commanders do, but they're probably not even, they're just saying it's somebody dependent. But instead of being a voluntary missing, or it's somebody that's particularly vulnerable, and it's kind of like an Amber Alert for the kids,
I want to ask you about this timeline, okay? And I just want to be clear again as I say this, because before investigators, are not necessarily connecting these dots, we're not trying to connect them too, but we're just asking questions here. I think we have to. When you look at that timeline of when they're going to be talking about releasing these UAP, UFO materials, does that raise any red flags for you, or do you just set that aside, you just focus on the ground level facts? You tell me.
You got to try and set it aside and just work on search theory. But it's always going to, listen, even if the investigators aren't talking about it, it is in the back of their mind, right? It's hard to ignore. But more often than not, these end up just being weird coincidences, and, the thing, the positive, I guess, as far as the search goes, with that background, what's going to happen is it's going to be a massive response. And, I had a case last July of a JPL scientist, NASA scientist, who went missing in LA National Forest. And it's the first time I've ever done a search with National Guard was out there with Blackhawks. And I think it's going to be the same type of response for this gentleman as well, and they're going to get everybody.
Yeah.
everybody's going to be involved. It's going to be a massive response. It
That's
already
an
is.
interesting. That's an interesting point. You have the sheriff's office, who's the lead agency, but now we also have the FBI, right? The Albuquerque field office is now assisting. Can you walk us through why we might be seeing that and what this actually means when the FBI gets brought into a missing persons case? What does assisting look like on this from their perspective? What do they do, and why would they be necessary for a case like this?
So there's a couple different ways. They've been requested, so agencies can request the FBI's assistance if it's not in FBI jurisdiction. So if this wasn't, national force or whatever, but they can request the FBI's assistance. And a lot of agencies, like we've seen in, Tucson, maybe are hesitant, and a lot of agencies will take that assistance. And so the FBI will be there as a support agency because the local jurisdiction will be the lead, but they have much more resources. And then if you get like BORAD, if you get border control, their search abilities and canines and helicopters, and if you get National Guard in there, which I think they're bringing in, then you got unbelievable thermal imaging capabilities. You got military level stuff. And even though they're support agencies, nobody's really telling them what to do. It's like they're assigned search areas and they're, they have much greater capabilities than local sheriffs do.
What about the Air Force connection? The sheriff's office says they're coordinating with the Kirtland Air Force Base, but McCaslin retired again, I believe, in 2013. He's been, from what we can tell, just living kind of like a civilian life for more than a decade. Why would the Air Force Base be involved? What role would they play in a case like this?
My guess, and it's purely guess, is just because he was such high level and the connection there, he wasn't just, anyway, he ran, big programs there. So I think it's that. It's the same thing that you saw with this JPL scientist. It was what it was somebody at NASA put a call out for assistance to a federal agency, said, hey, one of our scientists has gone missing on a hike. And next thing you knew, everybody was willing to help. And I think that's probably going to be the situation here. But, who knows for the real.
Just generally speaking, okay, even if you put aside his credentials, his past, no confirmed witnesses, no clothing description release, no known direction of travel, he has just disappeared. It's been, a little bit right now. Is that weird? Is that very unusual? Or do you say to me, Jesse, look, this happens sometimes in missing persons cases. It's not necessarily an outlier.
The cell phone and watch left behind, we see a lot, and it's not a good sign. Does make me wonder if he got some sort of diagnosis or something recently. But when we see those tracking devices left behind, those devices that can be tracked, and somebody like him that really knows the outdoors, and they haven't found him in the first 4 days with a lot of assets, it makes me wonder if he wanted, if something's going on in his life where he didn't want to be found.
And by the way, to be clear, we don't know that for sure. And to be clear, we also, authorities haven't, said outright publicly to suggest that there was foul play, right? That this was a kidnapping, that this is a criminal investigation. You're seeing this multi-agency effort to try to find him. We've talked a little bit about McCaslin himself, the person, right? Not the general. His wife, you mentioned, said he loves the outdoors. He's an avid skier. He's a hiker. But I do want to discuss, obviously, the elephant in the room, because we'd be lying if we said this wasn't part of, why we're all here. So General McCaslin's name appears in those hacked Podesta emails I mentioned earlier from 2016. Tom DeLonge, the Blink-182 guitarist, UFO researcher, wrote to Podesta claiming that he'd been working with McCaslin, claimed that McCaslin helped assemble his advisory team, claimed that McCaslin knew what he was trying to achieve. According to the documents that were reviewed by Rolling Stone magazine, in one exchange, DeLonge appeared to write to Podesta, when Roswell crashed, they shipped it to the laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. General McCaslin was in charge of that exact laboratory up to a couple of years ago. He not only knows what I'm trying to achieve, he helped assemble my advisory team. He's a very important man. Now, here's what we need to be clear about. According to Newsweek, there are no official records indicating that McCaslin actually advised DeLonge. The general himself has never confirmed or denied it. And by the way, just to add another layer to here, DeLong has spent years building credibility in this space. He founded Two to the Stars, Inc., wrote a 2019 Newsweek op-ed arguing that America has been investigating UFOs for years, appeared in a Netflix docuseries on the topic. So whether or not McCaslin was actually involved, we know that DeLong has positioned himself as someone with insider access. Steve, I go back to you on this. Look, one of the things I'm thinking about, again, elephant in the room, is let's say there is foul play here. Let's say this is connected to his past. Wouldn't it have been done in a way where it wouldn't have alerted authorities of the public to the fact that he's been missing? I mean, I think that's something interesting to think about, right? It's creating now more of an uproar. It's making its way in the news. People are looking at this. It's looking more suspicious. So for those who might believe that something happened to him in connection with his past, I don't know if this is the way that you would go about it.
Well, so those people that are going to believe that, and they'll continue to believe it no matter what, they're the loudest voice in the room. So just shining a spotlight on this just amplifies them. And so I don't think they'd go about it this way. In fact, his wife, I saw a quote from her where she, said that she didn't have anything to suspect foul play is involved. But, the guy has a very interesting past. But you got to understand, people got to realize too that the UFO stuff is not all alien based. It's anything. It's these weather balloons, these spy balloons, and any unidentified type of stuff. But he was working on propulsion things and very interesting. He probably knows he does know a lot of things. But like you said, he's been retired a very long time too. So I think it's going to just end up being noise and a coincidence and something else was going on. But you just never know. It's such strange times that we're living in.
It's very strange. And I wonder, what is your ability to actually look at what he was working on, what his past is? I would imagine all those records would be classified, whether you're a private investigator, your local law enforcement, maybe the FBI has better access to it. How far can they get into actually looking at those records? It feels very complicated to me.
And this is just speculating, I would guess there's probably only a handful of people at the FBI that could even access that information. And those aren't people that are on the search. Those are the very highest level. These are military classified things that even in the military level, I can't imagine that many people have access to it. So as a private investigator, as a searcher, as a sheriff or a sheriff deputy, probably zero access. They probably have, so they probably can't even really factor that in besides the speculation. I don't think anybody's briefing them on here's exactly what he knew and was working on and stuff like that. That's all going to still be kept top secret, I would think.
Before I let you go, just want to circle back to this theory that you have, and you've talked about it, and it could be very, very true. If we're dealing with a situation where someone voluntarily left on their own, okay? How tough is it to avoid being detected? How tough is it to avoid being, found by authorities if you have all these agencies looking into it? I've seen cases like that before, sometimes in, kind of mountainous terrain or wilderness terrain. But how difficult would it be for someone to just pick up, leave, and not be found?
Well, somebody that knows the outdoors well can actually, if they think it through, they can come up with it. Typically what happens in these situations, if it's that, they're found in the water, and it's you have to wait a certain amount of days before because of what bodies do when they are in the water, and but some people that will find if let's say they got this diagnosis and they just decide that they don't want to live with that, if they have like life insurance and stuff like that, sometimes they will hide themselves best they can because they don't pay out on. If people take their own lives. So, and people think that stuff through. So it's really hard. But a guy like this that knows mountain terrain, knows military, you can make it hard. But my guess is if there's bodies of water there, you're going to start seeing some intense searches in the water.
And again, just to be 100% clear,
speculating.
This is all speculation. This is all theories. We do not know definitively the circumstances surrounding his disappearance. We know at this point that he can't be found. Or that
in search and rescue, we go off, statistics from past, like markers that we see. We actually, and these are models that are built or maintained by the Department of Justice that we have access to, and it takes all. So it's just it's just giving us probabilities, and it has some markers of that, but I have no inside information on what's going on in that search. So it's just based on probabilities. Hopefully he's injured and alive, and they'll find him.
Steve Fisher, thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We're also up on NBC's Peacock as well. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you next time, everybody.
दुनिया दो दिन दी बनावे मौत दमाल दुनिया दो दिन दी दुनिया दो दिन दी बनावे मौत दमाल दुनिया दो दिन दी आए कर तू कुछ ख्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी सुल्तान भी आए बड़े बड़े सुल्तान भी आए ओढ़क जा बिच खाक समाए ओढ़क जा बिच खाक समाए आए हो गए ख्वाब ख्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी आए हो गए ख्वाब ख्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी दुनिया दो दिन दी बंदावे मौत दमाल दुनिया दो दिन दी ऊंचे लम्हे महल बना दे ऊंचे लम्हे महल बना दे दगा फरेब ते जुल्म कमा दे दगा फरेब ते जुल्म कमा दे हाय कुछ नहीं खड़दे नाल दुनिया दो दिन दी हाय कुछ नहीं खड़दे नाल दुनिया दो दिन दी ओ दुनिया दो दिन दी बंदावे मौत दमाल दुनिया दो दिन दी दुनिया देंदी दुख बतेरे दुनिया देंदी दुख बतेरे वीरा कोलू वीर नखेड़े वीरा कोलू वीर नखेड़े आए मावा तू विछड़े लाल दुनिया दो दिन दी आए मावा तू विछड़े लाल दुनिया दो दिन दी ओ दुनिया दो दिन दी बंदावे मौत दमाल दुनिया दो दिन दी सुख दे सजना सारे संगी सुख दे सजना सारे संगी नस जांदे जद आवे तंगी नस जांदे जद आवे तंगी हाय कोई नहीं गम दा प्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी ओह कोई नहीं गम दा प्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी हसना रोना गम लाचारी, हसना रोना गम लाचारी, आज मेरी कल तेरी बारी, आज मेरी कल तेरी बारी। हाय कंजरी दी मिसाल दुनिया दो दिन दी, हाय कर तू कुछ ख्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी। ओ दुनिया दो दिन दी बंदा बे मौत दा माल, दुनिया दो दिन दी ओह कर तू कुछ ख्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी। पुत वे तुड़ानी मिट्टी दा वीरा, पुत तुड़ानी मिट्टी दा वीरा, अपना आप संभाल बशीरा, अपना आप संभाल बशीरा। हाय मिट्टी मिट्टी दा माल दुनिया दो दिन दी, हाय मिट्टी मिट्टी दा माल दुनिया दो दिन दी। हाय कर तू कुछ ख्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी, हाय कर तू कुछ ख्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी। ओ दुनिया दो दिन दी बंदा मिट्टी दा माल दुनिया दो दिन दी, हाय कर तू कुछ ख्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी, हाय कर तू कुछ ख्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी। दुनिया दो दिन दी बंदा बे मौत दा माल, दुनिया दो दिन दी। दुनिया दो दिन दी बंदा बे मौत दा माल, दुनिया दो दिन दी आए कर तू कुछ ख्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी। खाक समाए ओढ़क जा बिच खाक समाए, आए हो गए ख्वाब ख्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी, आए हो गए ख्वाब ख्याल दुनिया दो दिन दी। दुनिया दो दिन दी बंदा बे मौत दा माल, दुनिया दो दिन